Coming up next, Daimler Chrysler.
Excuse me, Dr. Z, a quick question. What have been the benefits of the merger between Daimler-Benz and Chrysler?
Get in.
Benefits? Well, better performance, more capability, better quality, and more safety features.
Are you really a doctor?
Any more questions?
No, I'm good. Wiedersehen.
Get employee pricing plus 0% financing on 2006 Chrysler Jeep and Dodge vehicles. If not satisfied, simply return it within 30 days.
Tom, is this guy really a doctor?
Is this guy really German? That's what I want to know. It's like a bad actor doing a German accent. I don't buy for a second that this guy is German. And, you know, if the Germans are so concerned with helping us, what about mentioning that Rudolf Diesel's original invention ran on peanut oil? I mean, where's that, Germans? And,
Don't tell people that. We're not supposed to know that we can actually
I think
run
probably
the cars
Chrysler
on
killed that program to begin with.
I'm quite sure they did, yeah.
And I actually looked up Daimler on the internet, and in their defense, they were the first German corporation to admit to their wartime activities. In the early 80s, they paid over 60 million euros to in retribution to Holocaust survivors.
Restitution.
Really? Restitution. Thank you.
Right. Here's some money.
I just wonder if it was this guy's idea to make those luxury Chryslers look like the Bentleys. They're almost identical.
And he's replacing the guy who used to go, sweet.
I missed him.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who went sweet?
John Reeps, the comedian, and then his partner. There's that Hemi thing going on, and the fry cook goes sweet. So that's the new face is actually the CEO rather than just some actor who looks like.
So he's the actual CEO.
He's the actual
because
CEO.
I'm kind of troubled by this thing. I don't know who Dr. Z is. It doesn't make me want to buy cars. I feel like who is this Dr. Mengele character? Frankly, I'm sorry, but bringing up the war, I feel like this is supposed to make me want to go buy a car. And then at the end, he runs the car into the wall and says, "Buy it, punk."
What's that journalist story going to be like?
I know.
It's Lee Iacocca envy. Dr. Z, they're branding him.
Yeah.
They're branding him as the new Lee Iacocca. So they're really trying to turn him into the mascot for the company. And they're using humor to do that. Now, Lee Iacocca was the old mascot, but humor? No. Lee was kind of.
I thought he was a real person,
noble.
too. Dr. Z, I thought was a character with a big phony mustache and a, Nazi accent. Sorry.
Well, how does Lee Iacocca feel about it, I wonder?
He must be spinning in his grave.
He's alive. You may have just killed him.
Now, the thing that I noticed when watching this was that, the journalist asks him, what's so great about this? And he says, well, it's better engineering, better handling, better design. It's like, so what is he saying about Chrysler? Before they got there.
I thought the context of that question was very interesting. What have been the benefits was literally the question. And if that had been asked in the boardroom, he would have talked about share price, market cap, all the things that have nothing to do with the public interest. Yeah. And here they spend. I also noticed that most of the benefits flowed from Mercedes technology to the American factories, which is kind of insulting. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, except that it represents the reality, and most American consumers understand that European, Japanese products are superior. It's kind of refreshing to see a car commercial that actually acknowledges that. To me, I thought the ending was most adorable because it reminded me of the crash dummies, and I thought, isn't it interesting that the journalist is in the position of essentially being the butt of the joke, the crash dummy.
You thought that was adorable, running into the brick wall. That was cute.
If you think that corporations can pistol whip journalists, you should see what our government can do.
Yeah.
I thought that was really the most powerful metaphor of this. It was just like, you ask questions, you're going to take a cement wall in the face at 60 miles an hour. No wonder we're such a curious people.
Is that effective, though, at this time? Again, a time of war to say, well, this is now a foreign-owned company. I guess they get credit for admitting it, but is this something that makes Americans want to go out and buy this product made by this German?
I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, it's definitely a marketing ploy, and a lot of advertisements are aimed at not at unmeasurable results. That is, they try and drive up prestige and things over the next years. But this is pretty clearly one that they're trying to measure in 90 days and see how it's working.
Yep.
They're testing it.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Made me want to drive into a wall.
Yeah. This also uses a phenomenon that psychologists call the sleeper effect, in that we know it's staged right away. You see this fake journalist, and as you guys looked at the transcript, I called him fake journalist, in interviewing the CEO, but and you, at the time you know it, and you're, in a sense, you're inoculated from it, but in 3 to 6 weeks, studies show that people forget that that was a fake journalist and remember the event as though it actually was real. It's a very powerful psychological mechanism, and it's something that, you know, people aren't really very aware of. We feel we're armored, but in fact we're not.
And there's another way that that effect also gets played out, which is we see several different cars in several different terrains being tested, but we have an illusion of continuity. So we feel like, in a way, they've been together through the whole ride, even though actually 4 different cars are being demonstrated in that commercial.
Dr. Z, our exit question is, name another doctor and what organization that doctor should lead.
Should lead. Dr. Kevorkian. You put me in that Dr. Mengele mood. So Dr. Kevorkian, FDA.
Renee.
I think Dr. Seuss needs to come back. You remember what a big anti-war supporter he was.
Yeah.
We need him back again.
Desi.
I was going to go political too. I was going to say Dr. Howard Dean in the U.S. government. That would be me.
Dr. Tom.
Dr. Ruth, and how the lack of sex leads to war and violence.
Interesting. I think Subway should be led by a doctor because they're owned by Doctors Associates, and it's just kind of a cover story. So that's all we've got time for. Come play with us again next week on Mental Engineering.